10 tallest black men in the world whose sizes are unbelievable. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the world around you is simply too small. Doorways, cars, beds, even the very streets you walk on. For the tallest black men ever recorded, this wasn't a dream. It was their everyday reality. These giants didn't just break height records, they shattered expectations, challenged science, and left entire nations stunned by their unbelievable size. Today, we uncover the lives behind the headlines and reveal stories the world still struggles to believe. Before we begin, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because on Legends of Black Excellence history always stands taller than you think. John William Bud Rogan. John William Bud Rogan remains one of the most extraordinary figures in American history. A man whose life was shaped by unimaginable challenges, yet defined by dignity, talent, and quiet strength. Born in 1868 in Hendersonville, Tennessee, Rogan grew up during one of the most difficult periods for African Americans just after the Civil War, when the country was rebuilding but opportunities were limited. His early childhood was ordinary, but by age 13, something unusual began to happen. His body started growing at an extraordinary rate. By adulthood, Rogan reached a breathtaking 8 feet 9 inches, 2.67 meters, making him the tallest black man ever recorded, and the second tallest verified human in world history. Despite his astonishing height, Rogan suffered from ankylosis, a rare condition that caused his joints to stiffen and eventually freeze, leaving him unable to stand or walk. Yet what could have become a life closed off from the world instead became a testament to human resilience. Confined to a specially designed cart that he pushed, using a cane, Rogan developed remarkable artistic talent. He became widely known for his beautifully detailed sketches and portraits, which he sold to support himself. Locals often described him not just as a giant in size, but a gentle and thoughtful soul with a soft voice and a warm presence. While other extremely tall individuals of his era entered circuses or sideshows, Rogan famously refused every offer. He valued dignity over spectacle and wanted to be known for who he was, not for the condition he lived with. His refusal to be exploited earned him deep respect in his community and set him apart from many other giants of the time. Even in an era when racial discrimination was harsh, people across Tennessee spoke of Rogan with admiration. When he passed away in 1905 at the age of 37, his coffin measured over 10 feet long, and his name was already recorded in medical history. Today, more than a century later, John William Bud Rogan is remembered not only for his towering height, but for the quiet, powerful legacy he left behind, an extraordinary example of courage, artistic expression, and unwavering human dignity. Willie Camper. Willie Camper stands as one of the most fascinating yet least publicized giants in American history. A young African-American man whose extraordinary height left doctors spellbound and communities across the country in awe. Born in 1924 in Memphis, Tennessee, Camper grew up during a time marked by segregation and limited medical access for black families. Yet even in those difficult circumstances, his presence could not go unnoticed. By the age of 18, he had reportedly reached an astonishing height of around 8 feet 1 inch, 2.46 meters, placing him among the tallest black men ever documented and one of the tallest individuals of the 20th century. What made Willie Camper remarkable was not only his height, but the speed of his growth. According to medical evaluations and historical reports, his rapid increase in stature began around age 9 and accelerated dramatically through adolescence. Doctors of the era, curious and puzzled, photographed him, measured him repeatedly, and documented his case, hoping to understand the nature of such extreme growth. While modern medicine would likely identify gigantism or pituitary abnormalities, Camper lived at a time when such conditions were barely understood, especially for African American patients in the South. Unlike some tall individuals who were drawn into circuses or traveling exhibitions, Camper maintained a quieter life. He did not become a celebrity, an athlete, or a public performer. Instead, he remained largely within his community, where his towering figure became a symbol of both marvel and mystery. Photographs from the 1940s show a young man with gentle features standing head and shoulders, sometimes entire feet above everyone around him. Those who met him often described him as polite, soft-spoken, and humble, despite his overwhelming presence. Tragically, like many individuals with extreme height during that era, Willie Camper's life was likely shortened by the physical burdens placed on his heart bones and organs. His public records fade after the 1940s, leaving historians to piece together the fragments of a life lived under the weight of a rare medical condition and a society not yet ready to understand it. But his legacy remains a towering figure who, even without fame or fortune, captured a unique place in the story of human extremes. Willie Camper is remembered today as a giant not only in height, but in the quiet dignity with which he carried the extraordinary body he was given. Gabriel Estevo Mondlane. Gabriel Estevo Mondlane remains one of the most extraordinary figures ever to emerge from the African continent. A man whose towering height placed him among the tallest humans in modern medical history. Born in 1944 in the village of Manjakazi, Mozambique, Gabriel entered a world marked by poverty, limited healthcare, and colonial-era hardship. His childhood began normally, but as he approached his teenage years, something astonishing began to happen. His body started to grow at a rate far beyond what anyone around him had ever witnessed. By adulthood, Mondlane reached a verified height of 8 feet 0.75 inches, 2.46 meters, making him one of the tallest Africans ever accurately measured. His remarkable size captured the attention of local communities first, then spread quickly across the region. People traveled long distances just to see the man who seemed to stand halfway between myth and reality. But behind the amazement lay a medical truth. Mondlane suffered from untreated gigantism, a hormonal condition caused by excessive growth hormone. In a region with extremely limited medical resources, his condition went unmanaged for years, allowing his height to reach extreme levels. In the 1980s, European medical teams and international reporters traveled to Mozambique to document his case, measuring him carefully and bringing his story to a global audience. For many doctors, Mondlane represented a rare opportunity to study gigantism outside the controlled environments of Western hospitals. For the world, he became a symbol of both human wonder and human vulnerability. People who met him often described him as gentle patient and surprisingly soft-spoken, despite the physical challenges he faced every day. Like many individuals of extraordinary height, Mondlane struggled with severe mobility problems. Walking became increasingly difficult as his joints deteriorated under the pressure of his enormous frame. Finding clothes, shoes, transportation, or even a bed long enough to support him became daily challenges. Yet through it all, he continued to meet journalists, welcome doctors, and represent Mozambique on the world stage. His story traveled far beyond his small village, inspiring curiosity, compassion, and global awareness of conditions like gigantism. Gabriel Estevo Mondlane passed away in 1990 at the age of 46, leaving behind a legacy carved not just in height, but in resilience. He remains one of the tallest black men ever recorded, a towering reminder of the mysteries of human biology and the strength of the human spirit in the face of extraordinary circumstances. Suleiman Ali Nashnouch. Suleiman Ali Nashnouch stands as one of the most remarkable giants in modern history. A man whose extraordinary height and unexpected talents made him unforgettable far beyond the borders of his home country, Libya. Born in 1943, Nashnouch grew up like many children in Tripoli, unaware that the course of his life would soon be shaped by a rare medical condition that caused his body to grow at an astonishing pace. By the time he reached adulthood, his height had soared to approximately 8 feet 0 inches, 2.45 meters, placing him among the handful of men in recorded history to exceed the 8-foot mark. His massive height was the result of gigantism, likely caused by overproduction of growth hormone during adolescence. But unlike many individuals with extreme height who struggled in silence, Nashnouch found a sense of purpose and even pride through sports. Remarkably, despite his towering frame and the physical challenges it brought, he joined Libya's national basketball team, becoming one of the tallest athletes ever to play the game. On the court, he was a spectacle of pure scale, his reach, stride, and presence altering the dynamic of every match he played. Nashnush's life took another surprising turn when he entered the world of cinema. In 1969, he appeared in Federico Fellini's iconic film Satyricon, showcasing his distinctive silhouette to international audiences. At a time when people with exceptional height were often pushed toward sideshows or exhibitions, Nashnush instead found himself contributing to art culture and national pride. His public appearances reshaped how people viewed extreme height not as a curiosity but as a human story worth respecting. Yet life at 8 feet tall came with tremendous hardship. Nashnush experienced significant structural strain on his joints and spine, and his daily mobility grew increasingly difficult. Eventually, doctors performed surgery to remove a pituitary tumor, stopping his growth but leaving lasting limitations on his health. Despite these challenges, he remained a respected figure in Libya, admired not only for his height, but for his strength of character. Suleiman Ali Nashnush passed away in 1991, leaving behind a legacy few could match. Remembered as an athlete, an actor, and a medical marvel, he remains one of the tallest black men ever documented. His life is a powerful reminder that even those who stand far above the rest must face their own battles, and that greatness can take many forms long after one's footsteps fade. Abiodun Adegoke. Big Naija. Abiodun Adegoke, widely known as Big Naija, is one of the most astonishingly tall young men of the modern era, an emerging figure whose extraordinary height and quiet determination have captured global fascination. Born in Nigeria around the late 1990s, Adegoke grew up unaware that he would soon stand among the tallest individuals of his generation. Today, he is believed to measure around 7 feet 11 inches, 2.41 meters, placing him just shy of the legendary 8-foot threshold reached by only a handful of people in history. His unbelievable size has turned him into a rising internet phenomenon, with millions of viewers stunned every time a new photo or video surfaces, showing his towering frame beside ordinary players. Adegoke's journey into the spotlight began during his time at the Segun Odegbami International College and Sports Academy in Nigeria, a school known for nurturing young athletes. Even as a teenager, he stood far above his classmates and coaches, quickly noticed that his size was unlike anything they had ever seen. His massive stature eventually brought him to the attention of international basketball circles, leading to opportunities to play in the MPAC Elite Youth League in Dubai, where footage of him dunking with barely a jump sent shockwaves across social media. Watching a nearly 8-foot athlete move fluidly on the court was something few had seen before, and news outlets worldwide began referring to him as the next giant of basketball. But behind the viral excitement lies a deeper, more personal story. Adegoke's height has brought with it tremendous everyday challenges, finding shoes large enough to fit clothing tailored to his proportions, and even doorways tall enough to pass through safely. Reports suggest he may wear shoes larger than size 50, making simple tasks many people take for granted surprisingly difficult. Despite these obstacles, he has remained humble and focused, continuing his training while navigating the physical demands of life at such an extreme height. Though he has not yet reached the NBA or signed with a major international team, Adegoke's potential remains a topic of intense curiosity. Former players, including NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal, have publicly acknowledged his remarkable size, expressing interest and amazement at seeing someone so young with such unprecedented height. Coaches and analysts agree that while he still needs specialized training and conditioning, his raw physical presence alone makes him a once-in-a-generation figure. Today, Abiodun Adegoke continues to represent the future of what may be possible in the world of basketball and human physiology. His story is still unfolding, one defined not just by incredible height, but by perseverance, global intrigue, and the unique challenges that come with living as one of the tallest young men on the planet. Big Naija stands quite literally head and shoulders above the rest, a modern giant whose path forward remains as compelling as his towering figure. Charles Sogli. Charles Sogli is one of the most astonishing figures to emerge from Ghana in recent decades, a young man whose extraordinary height has placed him among the tallest black men in the modern world. Born in 1998 in the Volta region of Ghana, Sogli grew up like many children in rural communities surrounded by modest resources and simple living. But as he entered his teenage years, something unexpected happened. His body began to grow at a rapid, uncontrollable pace. By early adulthood, he had reportedly reached approximately 7 feet 10 inches, 2.39 meters, a height so rare that it captured national attention and sparked discussions among medical professionals across the country. Sogli's unusual size was most likely the result of gigantism or acromegaly conditions caused by excess growth hormone. Unfortunately, access to early medical care was extremely limited in the region where he lived, which meant his growth continued unchecked. As his body expanded, everyday life became a series of new challenges. His feet grew so large, reportedly around 16 inches long, that finding properly fitting shoes became nearly impossible. In fact, he had to drop out of school in primary 5 simply because he couldn't find sandals big enough for his feet. For many Americans, that may sound unimaginable, but for Sogli, it was a heartbreaking turning point. Transportation became another major difficulty. Many commercial vehicles in his area refused to carry him because he physically couldn't fit inside their cars or minibuses. Doors were too low, seats were too narrow, and legroom was non-existent. As a result, he often stayed home or relied on help from neighbors. His size also caused frequent pain, back strain, joint pressure, and difficulties standing or sleeping comfortably. Yet despite all this, Sogli has remained remarkably patient and determined. Those who have met him often describe him as humble, soft-spoken, and surprisingly hopeful about his future. Over the years, his story circulated across Ghanaian media, prompting journalists, local leaders, and even medical professionals to visit him. Several charities and individuals donated custom-made footwear, clothing, and beds tailored to his enormous proportions. These gestures, although simple, provided him with both physical relief and emotional encouragement. For a man whose world often felt too small for his body, each act of kindness made a meaningful difference. Today, Charles Sogli continues to live quietly in Ghana, representing not just the remarkable extremes of human growth, but also the struggles faced by individuals living with untreated gigantism in developing regions. His life is a reminder that extraordinary height is not only a marvel, it can also be a burden without proper support. Yet Sogli's resilience, humility, and strength of character have made him an inspiring figure to many who hear his story. Manute Bol. Manute Bol was more than just one of the tallest men to ever play professional basketball. He was a symbol of courage, generosity, and unwavering purpose. Born in 1962 in Turale, South Sudan, Bol came from a long line of exceptionally tall Dinka tribesmen. His father reportedly stood over 6'8" and his mother over 6'2", but Manute's height would surpass them all. By adulthood, he measured an extraordinary 7 feet 7 inches, 2.31 meters, making him one of the tallest players in NBA history and one of the most recognizable figures in global sports. Bol's childhood in rural Sudan was marked by hardship. He tended cattle, walked miles across open fields, and grew up in a society shaped by conflict and limited opportunity. Despite these challenges, his gentle spirit and natural athleticism stood out early. When American coach Don Feely saw Bol play in Khartoum, he knew this towering young man possessed potential unlike anything the basketball world had ever seen. Bol later moved to the United States, where he played college basketball before entering the 1985 NBA draft. Over the next decade, Manute Bol became a defensive force, known for one thing above all: shot blocking. With his enormous wingspan and impeccable timing, he blocked 2,086 shots in his career, an astounding number, considering he played only 624 games. That makes him the only player in NBA history to record more blocks than points, a statistic that perfectly captures his unique presence on the court. Fans remember his graceful reach, his ability to alter shots without jumping, and his humble personality that contrasted sharply with his intimidating size. But what truly made Manute Bol extraordinary was what he did off the court. Deeply connected to his homeland, he devoted nearly all his NBA earnings, millions of dollars, to humanitarian efforts during the Sudanese civil war. He funded schools, supported refugee assistance, and tirelessly advocated for peace. Many teammates later said Bol lived near poverty in America because he gave so much away. Even after retiring, he traveled the world speaking about human rights and working with charitable organizations to protect vulnerable communities in Sudan. In his final years, Bol faced severe health challenges, including kidney issues and a rare skin disease. Yet he remained active in humanitarian causes until his passing in 2010 at age 47. His funeral drew worldwide attention, honoring not just a giant in height, but a giant in heart. Manute Bol's legacy reaches far beyond basketball. He remains a towering symbol of compassion, sacrifice, and global citizenship. A man who used every inch of his extraordinary size to protect, uplift, and inspire others. For many, he will forever be remembered as the giant who blocked shots on the court and saved lives off of it. Tacko Fall. Tacko Fall's story is one of quiet determination, humility, vamochiokao, kinkatezo ifakingak. Born in 1995 in Dakar, Senegal, Tacko grew up in a loving family that valued education above all else. As a boy, he was tall, but no one could have predicted how far his growth would go. By his late teens, he had reached an astonishing 7 feet 6 inches, 2.29 meters, making him one of the tallest living athletes on the planet and one of the tallest players ever to step onto an NBA court. Moving to the United States at age 16 was a turning point. Despite facing a new language, a new culture, and intense public curiosity about his height, Tacko remained grounded and focused. He enrolled in high school, excelled academically, and soon joined the basketball team where coaches immediately recognized his rare potential. His wingspan, measured at 8 feet 2 inches, became one of the longest recorded in NBA history. Yet what impressed people most wasn't just his size, but his calm demeanor, thoughtful personality, and deep respect for everyone around him. Tacko went on to play college basketball at the University of Central Florida, UCF, becoming a fan favorite nationwide. His shot-blocking ability, gentle smile, and towering presence made him unforgettable. In the 2019 NCAA tournament, his defensive performance against top prospect Zion Williamson drew millions of viewers and cemented his status as a national sensation. That same year, he signed with the Boston Celtics, where crowds erupted every time he checked into a game. Tacko time became a phenomenon. Fans stood, cheered, and celebrated a player whose kindness matched his incredible height. Beyond basketball, Tacko Fall has used his platform to inspire young people, especially immigrants and African youth chasing big dreams. He speaks openly about the importance of education, perseverance, and family, a message shaped by his own journey from the streets of Dakar to the brightest arenas in the world. His humility has made him one of the most beloved figures in professional sports. Today, Tacko continues his career internationally, still captivating audiences with his gentle strength and remarkable stature. His story is not just about height, it's about heart discipline and the grace with which he carries a body that few humans in history have ever experienced. Tacko Fall stands tall not only in feet and inches, but in character, proving that greatness is measured by far more than size. Afeez Agoro Oladimeji, Afeez. Agoro Oladimeji was more than just Nigeria's tallest man. He was a symbol of resilience, humility. Và niềm hy vọng cho hàng triệu người từng nghe câu chuyện của anh. Born on December 13, 1975, in Lagos, Nigeria, Afeez lived a normal, active childhood. Nothing in his early years suggested the extraordinary transformation that awaited him. But soon after he turned 19, his body began to grow at an alarming pace. Doctors later confirmed that he suffered from acromegaly, a rare hormonal disorder caused by excessive production of growth hormone. Without early medical intervention, which was difficult to access in Nigeria at that time, his height continued to climb beyond natural limits. By adulthood, Hafiz had reached a confirmed height of 7 feet 4 inches, 2.24 meters, making him one of the tallest men ever recorded in modern African history. His size brought immense public attention, but it also brought pain pressure on his spine and joints, difficulty breathing, and mobility challenges that made even simple activities exhausting. Yet through it all, Hafiz refused to hide. He embraced public life with grace, courage, and a surprisingly playful spirit. His unique appearance led to features on Nigerian television documentaries and Nollywood productions that introduced him to millions across the country. Instead of exploiting his condition for fame, Hafiz used his visibility to raise awareness about gigantism, urging early diagnosis and medical care for those experiencing abnormal growth. He became a quiet advocate for people living with rare conditions, especially in places where healthcare access remains limited. Those who met him often described him as soft-spoken and warm, a man whose kindness contrasted sharply with his enormous frame. In Lagos, crowds would gather whenever he walked by, not only out of curiosity, but out of admiration. He was a gentle giant in every sense, navigating life with humor even when his body made everyday tasks difficult. His needs were unique custom-made clothes, oversized footwear, and transportation specially adapted so he could sit and move comfortably. As his condition progressed, complications increased. Despite treatment attempts, his health deteriorated due to the late diagnosis of acromegaly. On June 14, 2023, Hafiz Agoro passed away at the age of 47. His death was met with deep sadness across Nigeria, where thousands shared memories, photos, and heartfelt tributes to a man who had become a national figure. Today, Hafiz Agoro is remembered not only as one of the tallest black men in the world, but as a man who carried his height and his hardships with dignity. His story teaches us that true greatness is not measured in feet and inches, but in character. Through courage, openness, and advocacy, he showed the world that even a giant can have the gentlest heart. Sulemana Abdul Samed Awuchi. Sulemana Abdul Samed, widely known in his community as Awuche, stands as one of the most astonishingly tall men living in Africa today. A man whose remarkable height has drawn attention from doctors, journalists, and millions of curious onlookers. Born in the northern town of Gambaga, Ghana, Awuche grew up like any other boy, playing soccer with friends and helping his family with everyday tasks. But everything changed in his late teens when his body began to grow rapidly and uncontrollably. What started as a harmless growth spurt soon became something far more unusual. Today, Awuche is believed to stand between 7 feet 4 inches and 7 feet 6 inches, 2.24, 2.29 meters, a measurement confirmed by multiple medical evaluations in Ghana. Some early unofficial estimates had suggested he might be taller, but doctors later clarified that he remains within this extraordinary yet medically consistent range. His extreme height is caused by gigantism and acromegaly conditions triggered by excess growth hormone due to a pituitary abnormality. Without early access to specialized treatment, something incredibly rare in rural northern Ghana, his growth continued unchecked for years. Daily life for Awuche is filled with challenges most people never think about. He must rely on custom-made clothing and shoes, since nothing in local markets fits his towering frame. Walking through doorways requires bending deeply. Sleeping comfortably is nearly impossible on standard beds. Even simple transportation becomes a struggle, as most cars and buses cannot accommodate his height. Over time, the weight of his body has caused back pain, breathing difficulties, and mobility issues that make long distances exhausting. Yet despite these hardships, Awuche has maintained a remarkable sense of humor and optimism. His neighbors describe him as friendly, calm, and always willing to talk with visitors who come to see him. When photos of him standing beside average-sized residents went viral online, he suddenly became an international figure. astonishing viewers worldwide with his proportions and gentle demeanor. Medical teams from Ghana have since monitored his condition carefully, hoping to stabilize his hormone levels and prevent further complications. Awuche uses his growing visibility not for fame, but for awareness. He openly shares his experiences to help others understand gigantism and encourages young people to seek medical attention when something feels unusual. In a region where specialty healthcare is rare, his voice has become a powerful reminder of how early treatment can change lives. Sulemana Abdul Samed remains one of the tallest black men alive today, an extraordinary human whose life reflects the strength, patience, and resilience required to live inside a body that continues to defy expectations. His journey is not just about height. It is about hope, courage, and the quiet determination to keep moving forward in a world built far too small for someone like him. In the end, these extraordinary men, each carrying a story shaped by strength, struggle, and astonishing height, stand as powerful reminders of how remarkable the human body can be. Their lives reach far beyond numbers on a measuring tape. They represent resilience, identity, and the complex realities of living as giants in a world built for ordinary size. As we close this chapter, one question remains for all of us. How should history remember men whose bodies challenged what we believed was possible? Share your thoughts below and continue the conversation with us here on Legends of Black Excellence.